Were there any big takeaways that you had from undergrad?
I would say my biggest takeaway from undergrad was just, you know, be curious. Again, I was in the College of Engineering, the College of Arts and Sciences. I was at Peabody College. So I was in three schools at Vanderbilt. And I had the opportunity to take classes, varied classes. I met different people on campus and when I was abroad. Um, and so much of that, I even did my internship at at the Tennessee General Assembly. I actually did my senior internship with the Senate, which is a part of the Tennessee General Assembly, the 105th Assembly. So, at one point I was going to law school. At one point I was going to be an engineer. And so I actually came out a consultant working working in healthcare consulting, doing revenue cycle and working with IT systems. So my advice would be to stay curious and just remain open to learning from your peers and get to know your peers. A lot of my closest relationships today as an adult are with people that I went to Vanderbilt with, and we have amazing memories our young adult years. So get to know your peers, stay curious, don't feel like you have to have it all figured out, and explore, try new things. If you like something and you feel that it's a calling for you, that's why I learned that travel was definitely my thing, and the global community was something I was excited about. That's okay. It might be different from what your family may even expect of you or may have experienced, but that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Have to be open to the opportunities and be curious, and to the point of, even if you're thinking about becoming a lawyer, becoming an engineer, like as you learn and as you experience and as you grow, you're able to find yourself and take all those experiences as you were going down those paths and combine it all to where you are. And so you graduated from your undergrad, and you said you went into management
Graduated on
consultant.
time. I may have went through multiple schools, but I did graduate on time.
Hey, you got it done. That's what's important. So then you moved into a management consultant role at Huron. Can you
Mhm.
tell us maybe how you came across that role and more about what you did?
Again, relationships, because my senior year I was planning to go to law school, and I had such a supportive senator, and rest in peace to Senator Thelma Harper. um, she was a big part um, of my senior year, my time in terms of thinking about law school. But um, at the end of that internship, I had two things in front of me. I had my experience in my junior year in Australia, and I had my experience with the Tennessee General Assembly at the Senate. And I knew that coming off of that internship that I didn't want to go into law. And I just said, you know what, I'm going to take a step back. So, like a lot of my friends at that time, I graduated in 2007, um, had, they were going to grad school, or they had already done rounds of interviewing with consulting firms or whatever firm they were going to go and work for. But I was at a place where, you know, preparing for law school, and then ultimately decided that's not what I was doing. So I actually went home for 2 months. I went home for 2 months, and I worked at a local college, Columbus State University, in their study abroad office. And I just spent time thinking about what I really wanted next for my career. And because of my relationships and relationships I had built on campus, I was able to talk to just a lot of people about what they were doing. So, consulting really combined my love for travel, wanting to do something within the health space, and then still having a love for systems, even though I didn't pursue fully computer engineering. So, I had a conversation with someone, one of my peers from Vanderbilt. Such a great conversation, and they were like, "You should really try this company because they're doing late round interviews." And I was like, "Okay." So I put in my application, didn't really think anything of it, and I get a phone call. And not only did I get a phone call, but I got this like very rapid schedule. If you know anything about consulting interviews, there's like a number of them, case studies, and all that great stuff. But I got this schedule and it just happened so quickly. I went through all of the interview rounds, did my final round of interviewing. And I would say it was definitely less, about 30 days from the time I put that application in to the time that I received an offer. And from there, um, it all began. So.
That's beautiful, and I love that you took time to like step back and kind of reflect and figure out like what you wanted to do, as well as having had those relationships that you've cultivated before that was so helpful. And you never know who you're gonna have a conversation with that's kind of gonna influence or push you over the cliff on doing something. So that's awesome that that was able to happen for you.
And I will say, Omari, that so many of my friends were worried. Not so much my mom or my family, but they were like, you're at home? Like, what are
Mhm.
you doing with your life? So again, it might not feel comfortable in terms of where you are for depending on who's listening to this. But it's okay to step back. It really is.
Absolutely.